The galaxy had never feared anything like this before. Every council, every fleet, every world that knew of Earth whispered its name with a mix of curiosity and terror. But none of them understood what humanity was capable of. Not fully. Until now. On the outer edge of the Alara sector, in a dark corner of space untouched by most explorers, sensors picked up a strange movement. Ships had been scanning the area for weeks, hoping to locate drifting debris from an old war. Instead, they found something alive. Something moving. Something that should not exist. Commander Vryn of the Lixari fleet stared at the holographic display, his scales tense. "It's not debris," he hissed. "It's functional. And it's big." The object was enormous, a human vessel unlike anything they had seen before. Its hull was dark, almost black, but shimmered faintly in the light of distant stars. Sharp angles and strange patterns covered its surface, like some kind of armor. It moved with precision, not lazily drifting as derelict ships often did. Every sensor read impossible energy readings, fields that no known civilization had ever mastered. "Report," snapped Vryn. The voice came from a lieutenant, trembling slightly. "Our scanners cannot penetrate the hull, Commander," the lieutenant said. "It resists every probe, every attempt to analyze it. Energy emissions suggest weapons, far beyond our understanding. And there's movement inside." Vryn hissed through clenched teeth. The Lixari had fought many wars, survived countless battles, but the unknown terrified them more than anything. And this was more than unknown. It was a warning. Meanwhile, far from the edges of the galaxy, on Earth, humans were doing what they always did, preparing. In a control room bristling with monitors, a single human officer watched the readings coming in from the outer fleets. Lieutenant Mara Torres adjusted the display and frowned. "The Lixari are panicking," she said quietly. Her fingers danced across the control panel. "They found one of our old ships, the Aegis class. It's been missing for centuries, but now it's active again." "Active?" another officer asked, eyes wide. "But how? It should have been lost forever." Mara shook her head. "It doesn't matter how. What matters is that it is. And it's moving toward the core systems. We need to track it, make sure no one else reaches it first. Because if the galaxy sees it before we do," she left the sentence hanging. Out at the edge of the sector, the human ship moved silently, almost ghost-like. Its engines pulsed with a strange energy, barely detectable, leaving behind no signature for standard scanners. But it was not alone. Inside, a crew of humans worked in perfect synchronization, their calm efficiency masking the immense danger they represented. They didn't speak much, and when they did, it was clipped, precise. Captain Adrian Core stared at the holographic map. "We are on course. Maintain stealth protocols. Sensors must remain silent until we reach the rendezvous point." "Yes, Captain," replied his first officer, her voice steady but cold. Adrian's eyes narrowed. The galaxy had classified humanity as Category Red, the ultimate threat. Most civilizations thought it was an exaggeration, a warning meant to keep everyone alert. Few believed it. Fewer still survived encounters with humans. And now, after centuries, the humans themselves were moving again. Back in the Lixari fleet, tension turned into action. Vryn activated his command link. "All ships, prepare weapons. Move to intercept. Do not underestimate this vessel. Target it, and destroy it if necessary." A chorus of anxious replies filled the link. The fleet surged forward, engines flaring, weapons primed. But even as they advanced, unease spread through the ranks. Every sensor flickered. Energy readings shifted. Shadows seemed to move across the void, as if the stars themselves were bending around the human ship. And then, without warning, the humans made their first move. A pulse of light, quick and precise, flashed across the distance. Lixari ships shuddered as their shields screamed under pressure. Weapons systems overloaded. The fleet commander could only watch in disbelief as the human vessel continued forward, untouched, unstoppable, silent. Vryn's claws tightened on the controls. What kind of power is this?" he whispered. No one answered. There was no time. The humans were coming, and the galaxy had never faced anything like them. Every council, every military, every species that had once considered Earth a minor threat would soon learn the hard truth. Humanity was not just dangerous. They were the ultimate force, a storm the galaxy could not predict, a storm it had already classified as Category Red. And this was only the beginning. The Lixari fleet reeled from the first strike. Ships that had boasted the most advanced shields in the sector now smoked and sparked, their crews panicked. Every commander aboard could feel it. This was no ordinary human ship. It moved with intent, precision, and a power that made warships built for centuries look like toys. Commander Vryn's scales bristled as he barked orders. Form defensive lines. Target its engines. Focus all firepower. But the human ship, known as the Aegis, did not slow. Its dark hull reflected faint glimmers of light from distant stars, and yet, somehow, it seemed almost alive. Energy waves emitted from its surface, bending around weapons fire, absorbing attacks that would have shattered lesser vessels. Inside the ship, Captain Adrian Core observed the chaos through the viewport. His crew remained calm, every member focused. They were not reckless, they were trained for this. Centuries of hidden preparation had led to this moment. Lieutenant Mara Torres monitored the Lixari signals from Earth, her fingers flying across her console. "Captain, the fleet is already panicking. They're trying to coordinate an attack, but their weapons are ineffective. Whatever they expected, it is not working." Adrian nodded. "Good. Let them think they have a chance. Keep the Aegis silent. Engage stealth protocols only when necessary. We move for the rendezvous." In the Lixari fleet, tension turned into fear. Ships that had survived countless battles now seemed fragile, almost fragile enough to break at a touch. Vryn noticed his own officers whispering among themselves, unsure of commands, unsure of reality. They had studied human history, but humans were always unpredictable, always adaptive. They were a wild variable no formula could calculate. A distant explosion erupted in the void. One Lixari cruiser had been destroyed, its hull torn open by an energy pulse from the Aegis. The remaining ships jolted, their shields flickering. Panic spread like wildfire. Vryn growled. "All units, regroup. Focus fire. Do not let it pass." But it was already too late. The human ship glided past them, leaving a trail of disabled vessels. Its movements were calculated, yet fluid, almost like a predator in the dark. The Lixari could see it, but they could not touch it. Every attempt failed, every strike futile. Back on Earth, Mara's eyes widened. "Captain, they're watching. Every action the Lixari take is being predicted. They seem aware of everything before it happens." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Not aware, Mara. Prepared. That ship was designed for this. Every maneuver, every defense. They anticipated the galaxy would one day come looking. And now, they're here." The Lixari fleet was in full retreat. Vryn's mind raced as he tried to comprehend the impossible. How can one ship do this? One vessel, and yet, it's annihilating fleets. From the command deck of the Aegis, Adrian spoke quietly, almost to himself. "They do not understand humans. They see the ship, but not the crew. They see the weapon, but not the will behind it. That is their mistake." Sensors flickered as the human ship continued toward the core systems of the galaxy. It moved silently, almost ghost-like, avoiding detection by most patrols. Any fleet that tried to intercept it ended up crippled or destroyed, their crews left in panic and fear. On distant planets, whispers spread among the populations. "The humans have returned." Merchants, scholars, and warriors alike shared rumors of the unstoppable vessel. The word traveled faster than any ship, faster than any signal. The galaxy, which had once considered humanity a minor nuisance, now trembled at its name. In the heart of the Lixari fleet, Commander Vryn made a desperate decision. Prepare a trap. Gather every available ship. We will surround it at the Zareth Nebula. There is no other way. But even as he spoke, his instincts screamed that it would not be enough. The humans were not just a threat, they were beyond prediction. Each ship lost had been calculated, each move designed to teach the galaxy a lesson it had long ignored. Inside the Aegis, Adrian adjusted the navigation controls. Nebula coordinates locked. All units maintain formation. We make no mistakes. Lieutenant Mara's voice came over the comm. Captain, the Lixari are sending every ship they have. They intend to overwhelm us. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Let them come. They have forgotten the first lesson. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans fight like nothing else in the galaxy. And with that, the dark human vessel sailed deeper into the unknown, silent and unstoppable. Behind it, fleets collapsed. Around it, stars glimmered in quiet wonder. The galaxy had finally learned a truth it could no longer ignore. Humanity was not just a species. Humanity was a force, a storm the universe had underestimated for too long. And this was only the beginning. The Zareth Nebula stretched across space like a swirling storm of color and light. Gas clouds twisted and shimmered, hiding dangers that no star chart could map. It was the perfect trap, or so Commander Vryn believed. The Lixari fleet had gathered here in full force, ready to strike the human ship. Vryn's claws tightened on the control console as he watched the holographic display. Every ship in position. We will crush it here. It has nowhere to run. Around him, his officers nodded, though unease lingered in their eyes. The Aegis had already destroyed dozens of ships, outmaneuvering them all. Yet Vryn believed that in the chaos of the nebula, they could finally gain the upper hand. Far beyond the nebula, the dark silhouette of the Aegis glided silently. Captain Adrian Core watched the readings on his console. Sensors detect the nebula's edge. No signs of ambush, yet. Lieutenant Mara Torres leaned closer. Captain, I sense something. The Lixari are here. Every ship they have. They're waiting inside the nebula. Adrian nodded slowly. Good. Let them think they have control. Let them believe this is their victory. Inside the nebula, the Lixari fleet moved like a living wall, their ships spreading in a perfect formation. Energy shields flared, weapons locked on the approaching human vessel. Every captain aboard hoped this would be the moment humanity would fall. Target the ship, Vryn ordered. Do not let it pass. Sensors on the Aegis picked up the fleet's presence. Captain, Mara said, they're spread too thin in some sectors. We can slip through their lines if we time it perfectly. Adrian's hands danced across the controls. Prepare evasive maneuvers. Engage stealth field. Let's see how they handle humans in the dark. The human ship entered the nebula, its hull almost invisible against the swirling gases. Lixari weapons fired, but most shots dissipated harmlessly into the storm. Every pulse of energy seemed anticipated, every movement calculated. The humans did not panic. They did not slow. They moved like shadows through the storm. Commander Vryn growled, frustration building. Focus fire. Surround it from all angles. But the humans were ready. Small drones, released from the Aegis, zipped into the clouded nebula, jamming sensors and creating false signals. Lixari ships fired blindly, striking empty space or each other. Confusion spread quickly, and the fleet's perfect formation began to falter. Adrian observed the chaos, his face calm. Good. Let them break themselves apart. Keep moving. Maintain stealth. Mara, prepare the energy pulse for the core strike. Mara's eyes widened. Core strike? Captain, it could destroy multiple ships at once. Exactly, Adrian replied. They underestimate humans. We never fight like them. We fight smarter, faster, harder. In the heart of the nebula, the first Lixari ship collided with the invisible force field surrounding the Aegis. The energy pulse erupted, ripping through shields and hulls alike. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and crews screamed as their vessels tumbled helplessly in the void. Vryn hissed, fury rising. Impossible! One ship, and they are dismantling us. But the human vessel did not slow. It moved with a purpose, cutting through the nebula like a knife through mist. Every drone, every pulse, every evasive maneuver had been planned. Every ship in the Lixari fleet was being tested, and failing. Outside, distant observers from other systems watched the nebula glowing with destruction. Messages spread across communication networks. A human ship. One human ship. And the Lixari fleet, destroyed. Fear rippled through the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a legend. It was real. And it was unstoppable. Inside the Aegis, Adrian allowed himself a brief nod of satisfaction. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for the next move. The fleet thinks they control this battlefield, but the real plan begins now. Mara looked at him, unease and awe in her eyes. Captain, are they expecting this? Adrian shook his head. They never expect it. That is why humans survive. That is why we dominate. Let the galaxy learn the truth, slowly, painfully, without mercy. Back in the nebula, Commander Vryn could barely comprehend what was happening. Ships were burning, systems failing, officers screaming in confusion. His perfect trap had become a death zone, and the one ship responsible moved unharmed, silent, and deadly. Retreat! Vryn bellowed, but he knew it was too late. The humans had already turned the nebula into their battlefield. They were not just surviving, they were teaching the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. And in the darkness of space, the human ship glided on, calm, precise, and unstoppable. Every strike it made was a warning, every movement a message. Humanity was here. Humanity was the ultimate threat. And the galaxy, classified as Category Red, would soon understand why. The Lixari fleet was scattered, crippled, and humiliated. Smoke and fire trailed through the Zereth Nebula, painting the swirling gas clouds in flickers of red and orange. Commander Vryn had barely escaped with a handful of his ships, and even those were damaged. The galaxy had never seen anything like this. Back on the Aegis, Captain Adrian Core stood silently at the viewport. The nebula lay behind them, a graveyard of arrogance and fear. His crew moved calmly, tending to systems and checking drones. Every face reflected quiet determination, not fear. Humanity had survived worse than this, and thrived. Lieutenant Mara Torres broke the silence. Captain, they're sending a distress signal to the outer sectors. Other fleets will respond. The Lixari are asking for reinforcements. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them come. Let the galaxy send every fleet it has. They will learn the hard way that humans are not just fighters, we are the storm they cannot escape. Mara swallowed hard. And what about the civilians? They'll panic if this spreads. Adrian shook his head. Fear is part of strategy. When the galaxy realizes the humans have returned, it will be too late to stop us. No one will be ready. Not even them. Meanwhile, across several star systems, fleets of alien races scrambled to respond. The news of the human ship's massacre in the Zereth Nebula spread faster than any fleet could move. Entire planets debated what to do. Councils argued, fleets mobilized, but one thought dominated all minds: humanity was more than a threat, they were a force beyond imagination. In the Aegis, sensors detected multiple incoming fleets converging from different quadrants. Adrian studied the readings. They think they can overwhelm us with numbers. Mara, prepare the stealth field. Deploy reconnaissance drones. Every fleet must be visible before we act. Yes, Captain, Mara replied, tapping at her controls. Drones scattered silently, weaving through asteroid fields and the darkness between stars, sending data back to the Aegis. Captain Adrian's gaze hardened. The galaxy has forgotten the first rule. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans dominate. Let them learn again. The first fleet arrived, a coalition of 5 civilizations, each bringing hundreds of ships. They formed a wall across the void, confident that sheer numbers would crush the humans. Commander Vryn, humbled but vengeful, led the formation. His scales gleamed under the holographic displays as he addressed his allied commanders. This is the moment we reclaim our honor. The humans have shown their power, but they are only one ship. Strike together. Strike without mercy. In the darkness, the Aegis glided silently, invisible among the stars. Its dark hull reflected distant starlight, but left no signature detectable by the coalition's scanners. Adrian studied the formations carefully, anticipating every movement. Every attack, every retreat, every signal could be predicted, not because humans could see the future, but because they understood patterns, weaknesses, and fear. Mara whispered, "Captain, their formation is tight, but there are gaps. If we strike precisely, we can disable several command ships instantly." Adrian nodded. "Exactly. This is not about fighting all at once. It's about striking fear into the galaxy's heart. Remember, one move can change everything." And then they struck. A precise pulse of energy erupted from the Aegis, targeting the leading command ships of the coalition. Explosions lit up the void, sending fragments of hull and fire into space. The rest of the fleet scrambled, trying to avoid the invisible weapon, but every move had been anticipated. Drones interfered with targeting systems, and communication signals faltered, leaving ships blind and confused. Commander Vryn's voice trembled with rage and disbelief. "Impossible! One ship, it cannot do this. Our fleets are breaking." Adrian watched silently. "Let them panic. Let them crumble. Humans do not strike blindly. We strike with precision, with purpose. And we do not fear numbers." The fleet scattered, some ships destroyed, others retreating. Word of the Aegis' unstoppable assault spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Planets once indifferent to humanity now trembled in fear. Legends of humans being a minor species were shattered in hours. Humanity had returned, not as a curious anomaly, but as the ultimate weapon, classified category red for the threat it posed to all life in the galaxy. On the bridge of the Aegis, Adrian allowed himself a faint smile. Phase 2 complete. The galaxy will now understand that one human ship can change everything. But the lesson is far from over. Phase 3 begins soon. Mara nodded, a mix of awe and unease on her face. "Captain, they will come for us. The galaxy will not forgive this." Adrian's eyes were cold and steady. "Let them come. They will learn that humans are not just survivors. We are hunters. And no one hunts like us." And with that, the human ship glided forward, silent and deadly, leaving chaos, fear, and disbelief in its wake. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. The galaxy was in shock. Entire fleets had been shattered, planets whispered in fear, and councils argued endlessly. Every system that had once thought humans were minor pests now understood the truth. They were not just dangerous, they were unstoppable. Inside the Aegis, Captain Adrian Core monitored the aftermath. "Mara, status report. Any incoming fleets?" Lieutenant Mara Torres tapped her controls rapidly. "Several signals approaching from the Dravari sector. Small patrols at first, but more reinforcements are on the way. They're trying to assess what happened at the Zereth Nebula." Adrian's gaze remained calm, unwavering. "Let them come. Let the galaxy see humans at their peak. Preparation, strategy, precision. That is how we dominate." Outside, the void of space was no longer silent. Fleets from distant systems had begun converging toward the region of human activity. They were cautious now, scanning every sector, moving slower, coordinating endlessly. They had learned one lesson well: humans were unpredictable. Humans were lethal. Yet inside the human ship, the crew did not panic. They were prepared. Every move had been anticipated centuries ago, every fleet encounter rehearsed in simulations and history logs. They were humans, the ultimate Category Red threat, and they had returned to reclaim their place in the galaxy. Adrian studied the holographic display. The Dravari fleets are forming a blockade near the Kythera belt. Their goal is to contain us before we reach the central systems. Mara, prepare the decoys and stealth drones. We will teach them the cost of underestimating humans. Yes, Captain, Mara replied, launching a series of silent drones that dispersed across the belt. They emitted false energy signals, creating illusions of human ships where none existed. The Dravari fleets activated their weapons, thinking they had spotted the Aegis. Missiles flared, lasers cut through space, and ships adjusted their formations. But every strike hit nothing. Every plan was anticipated, every action countered. The Aegis moved like a phantom, unseen, untouchable, and deadly. Adrian allowed himself a faint smile. They see what they expect to see. We give them fear, then we strike. Minutes later, the human ship launched a precision strike. Energy pulses ripped through the leading Dravari ships, destroying command vessels and creating chaos. Smaller ships collided in panic, some destroyed by their own mistakes. The fleet had numbers, but humans had intelligence, strategy, and resolve. Commander Vrynn, barely recovered from the Zareth Nebula disaster, communicated with the Dravari leaders. Pull back. Regroup. Do not engage individually. The humans, one ship, has destroyed hundreds of our vessels. But it was too late. Panic had spread. Every fleet had its own fear. Every captain second-guessed commands. And the Aegis moved forward, silent and unstoppable, cutting through ranks with precision and calm. Captain, Mara said, they're trying to flee toward the central systems. They want reinforcements. If we allow them to regroup. Adrian's eyes narrowed. We cannot allow that. The lesson must be complete. Humans do not allow threats to survive. Prepare the long-range cannons. Target command vessels. Minimal collateral, maximum impact. The next strike was devastating. Command ships exploded in a synchronized pulse of energy, crippling the fleets in a matter of minutes. Communication between ships failed. Panic turned to chaos. For the first time, an entire region of the galaxy realized that humans were not just another species. They were a force that bent rules, broke formations, and destroyed fleets with ease. Back on Earth, Mara's voice came through comms. Captain, signals indicate multiple species are sending diplomatic messages. They're asking for ceasefire, for negotiations. They fear humans more than they fear war. Adrian leaned forward, cold and steady. Let them send messages. The galaxy cannot bargain with a force it cannot comprehend. We do not negotiate. We act. We dominate. And this is only the beginning. Across the void, destroyed fleets left burning wreckage in the wake of the Aegis. Systems that once ignored Earth now trembled at the thought of one human ship. Legends of human ingenuity, tenacity, and power spread like wildfire. Every species had learned something crucial. Humans were not just survivors, they were predators, planners, and conquerors. The galaxy classified humanity as Category Red, the ultimate threat. And now, the first true demonstration of that threat had been made. Inside the Aegis, Adrian turned to Mara. Phase 4 begins soon. The galaxy has seen power. Next, we show control. Humans do not just strike, they shape the battlefield itself. Mara nodded, her hands steady but eyes wide. Captain, they will come with everything next. Every fleet, every weapon. They will not forgive this. Adrian's voice was calm, unwavering. Let them come. We are not afraid. We are humans. And the universe has forgotten that humans do not just fight. Humans endure. Humans win. And with that, the human ship moved forward, deeper into the galaxy, leaving panic, fear, and shattered fleets behind. The lesson was clear: humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy trembled. News of the Aegis' unstoppable strikes had spread to every quadrant, and panic became universal. Entire fleets, once confident in their strength, now hesitated. Even the bravest commanders questioned their strategy, their tactics, and, most of all, their chances of survival. Captain Adrian Core watched the holographic displays inside the Aegis. "Mara," he said quietly, "the galaxy believes it can oppose us. It does not yet understand humans." Lieutenant Mara Torres studied the incoming signals. "Captain, multiple fleets are converging. They've formed a coalition. Dravari, Lixari, and the Serati combined forces. Hundreds of ships. They want total annihilation." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Let them come. We will not flee. Humans do not retreat. We will show them the cost of underestimating us." Outside the Aegis, the void of space darkened with the arrival of the combined fleets. Hundreds of warships formed an immense wall of steel and energy, attempting to box in a single human ship. Commanders across the fleets believed numbers would guarantee victory. But they were wrong. Inside the Aegis, the crew prepared silently. Every weapon system, every drone, every energy shield was ready. Humans did not panic. Humans did not hesitate. Humans calculated. They studied weaknesses, predicted moves, and struck with unmatched precision. Adrian stood at the command deck. Phase 5 begins now. Mara, deploy decoys. Activate stealth fields. Let them think they control the battlefield. "Yes, Captain," Mara replied. Drones scattered in all directions, creating phantom vessels and false energy readings. The coalition fleet fired blindly, missiles and energy beams striking empty space or each other. Confusion spread instantly, turning the disciplined wall into chaos. Commander Vrynn, coordinating the coalition from his flagship, roared in frustration. "Focus fire. Do not let them escape. One ship cannot destroy hundreds of vessels." But it was already too late. The human ship moved silently, unseen, through the gaps in their formation. Precise energy pulses struck command vessels, crippling communication systems and spreading panic. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and coordination fell apart. Adrian watched silently, his mind sharp. "One strike at a time, Mara. Disable their command ships first. Let fear spread faster than destruction. The rest will follow." Minutes later, explosions ripped through the heart of the coalition. Commanders screamed, ships burned, and fleets faltered. The combined might of multiple species was reduced to scattered fragments. Even Vrynn's flagship shuddered, crippled by a single strike from the Aegis. Mara's voice was calm but awed. "Captain, they're trying to regroup. But their formation is collapsing faster than they can recover." Adrian's eyes were cold. "Good. They must learn. The galaxy cannot negotiate with humans. We dominate, or we vanish. And we will not vanish." Across the void, remnants of the coalition fled in fear. Panic had replaced strategy. Legends of humans as a minor species were shattered. Whispers spread like wildfire. "The humans, they are unstoppable. One ship destroyed our fleets. And more will come." Back in the Aegis, Adrian studied the displays. "Mara, scan for other fleets. Every civilization in this sector must witness our power. We strike with purpose, not recklessness. Humans shape the battlefield itself." "Yes, Captain," Mara replied, activating long-range sensors. Ships far beyond the coalition's initial forces were detected. Some tried to hide, others attempted to flee. None were safe. Humans were everywhere, silent, precise, and deadly. Adrian's voice was steady, commanding. "Prepare the secondary energy pulse. Target key command centers. Minimal collateral, maximum impact. Let them understand. Humans do not fight to survive. Humans fight to dominate." Explosions followed across the void, crippling distant fleets, sowing confusion and terror. Entire sectors now whispered of the human threat. The galaxy, once confident, now quivered at the mere mention of one human ship, the Aegis. Commander Vrynn, defeated and enraged, sent one final message. "We underestimated you, humans. This is not over. But we will regroup." Adrian's response was cold and precise. "You learned the first lesson. There are many more to follow." The Aegis moved forward, deeper into the galaxy, leaving destruction, fear, and disbelief in its wake. Humanity had proven that it was not just a species, it was a force. It was the ultimate Category Red threat, unmatched in strategy, skill, and power. And as the void grew silent once more, Adrian whispered, almost to himself, "The galaxy fears humans. Let them." But the lesson has only begun. The galaxy was in chaos. Word of the Aegis had spread to every system. Entire fleets had been shattered, planets whispered in fear, and no council, no commander, no civilization dared underestimate humanity again. The legend of Category Red had become reality. Captain Adrian Core stood on the command deck of the Aegis, calm and focused. "Mara, what is our status?" Lieutenant Mara Torres scanned the displays. "Captain, multiple fleets are converging from all directions. They are desperate. They've sent their best ships, their most experienced commanders. Every species we've encountered is forming a blockade. They aim to end this, tonight." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Good. Let them come. Humans do not fear numbers. Humans do not flee. Humans dominate. Prepare the stealth field and energy pulses. We will finish this battle in a way the galaxy will never forget." Outside the Aegis, fleets stretched across light years, forming a massive wall of steel, energy shields, and weapons fire. They believed sheer force would crush the human ship. They believed one vessel could not defeat hundreds of others. They were wrong. Inside the human ship, the crew moved with perfect precision. Every weapon system, every shield, every drone was ready. Humans did not panic. They did not rush. They calculated, predicted, and struck with unmatched accuracy. Adrian spoke quietly to Mara. "Deploy the decoys. Scatter the stealth drones. Make them see a fleet where none exists. Let fear guide their mistakes." "Yes, Captain," Mara replied. She sent out drones that flickered like phantoms across the void, creating illusions of dozens of human vessels. The fleets fired blindly, energy beams slicing empty space, missiles exploding harmlessly against holographic decoys. Commander Vrynn, coordinating the coalition from his flagship, bellowed orders. "Concentrate fire. Do not let them escape. One ship cannot destroy us all." But the Aegis had already slipped through the cracks. Energy pulses struck command vessels with surgical precision, disabling shields, destroying engines, and crippling coordination. Chaos erupted. Fleets collided, weapons misfired, and panic replaced strategy. Adrian's voice was calm, commanding. "Phase 7 begins. Target the command ships. Leave no room for recovery. Let them understand humans are not merely a threat, they are the ultimate force." The first strikes tore through the coalition. Commanders screamed as their vessels erupted in flames, drifting helplessly in space. Smaller ships scattered in confusion. Entire formations collapsed. Humans did not fight blindly, they fought with calculation and purpose. Mara watched the readings, awestruck. "Captain, their fleets. They are breaking faster than anyone imagined. They're fleeing." Adrian nodded. "Good. But this is not about killing them all. This is about teaching the galaxy a lesson. Humans do not destroy without reason. Humans dominate with precision." As the fleets tried to regroup, the Aegis glided through the void, unseen, unstoppable. Its dark hull reflected the stars, yet left no signature detectable by the fleet's sensors. Every move was anticipated. Every escape route had already been predicted. The galaxy was not just witnessing human power, it was feeling it. From Vryn's command center, despair filled the room. We underestimated them. One ship, one human ship. He could not finish the sentence. No words could describe the impossibility of the situation. Adrian spoke quietly, almost to himself. The galaxy always forgets humans. We survive when all hope is lost. We adapt when others crumble. And we dominate when they think victory is theirs. A final pulse of energy erupted from the Aegis. Command ships exploded in synchronized blasts, crippling the remaining fleets. Panic turned into chaos, chaos into flight. The coalition's greatest minds had failed, their best strategies shattered. Every system they had tried to protect now trembled at the thought of one human ship. Across the galaxy, whispers became shouts. The humans, they are unstoppable. One ship destroyed fleets from multiple species. The Category Red threat is real. Humanity is not to be trifled with. On the Aegis, Adrian turned to Mara. Phase 7 complete. Humanity has shown its power. The galaxy will never forget this day. Mara nodded, still in awe. Captain, they will come again. Others will rise. The galaxy will not forgive this. Adrian's eyes were cold and steady. Let them come. Humans are not afraid. Humans endure. Humans conquer. And the universe has forgotten. Humans do not just fight. Humans win. The Aegis moved silently, leaving behind a trail of stunned fleets, shattered alliances, and a galaxy forever changed. Planets would whisper of humans in fear, fleets would tremble at their approach, and councils would no longer underestimate Earth. The ultimate truth was clear: humanity was no longer just a species. Humanity was a force, a storm that no civilization could ignore. They had returned, and nothing would ever be the same. And as the stars stretched endlessly before the Aegis, Captain Adrian Core whispered, almost to himself, "The galaxy classified us as Category Red, but we are more than a threat. We are the reckoning." The galaxy had learned the hard truth. Humans had returned. And now, humanity ruled not through fear alone, but through undeniable, unstoppable power.